The draft, a significant aspect of most major sporting codes across the world, besides football for some reason. Foot Draft has been one of the most popular game modes on FIFA since its inception in FIFA 16 due to the randomness and the extremely interesting scenarios that it can create. So today we're experimenting with our own special kind of draft, taking the draft concept and introducing it into FIFA 20 career mode. Nevertheless, we've added our own special BCHD spin on it. So the main gist of it is that 40 of the best wonder kids under the age of 22 in world football, according to FIFA 20, are up to be drafted, allowing all 20 Premier League clubs 2 draft rounds for 2 draft wonder kid picks. All draft picks will be randomized every round, so things could get interesting and maybe a little bit wacky as well. And after all that's over and done with, we'll be simulating through an entire Premier League season, overlooking how much of an impact each and every draft pick had on their respective teams, both their individual growth and development, and how it affects the league table. So we've completed the randomized wonder kid draft, and here is how each Premier League side fare after their randomized draft picks. We're going to kick things off here in alphabetical order. We're going through round 1 first, and then we'll go back into round 2. And obviously we're starting off with Bournemouth here. We're going to go straight into their first randomized draft pick. Then they got quite lucky here. They get a brand new update in that goalkeeper position. It is going to be the Italian stallion Gianluigi Donnarumma in between the sticks for them. That is going to stop them conceding so many goals this season. Bournemouth got a major upgrade in their first draft pick. Let's take a look and see how the Gunners are faring in their first draft pick. You could say they could have done better here, but they've gone ahead and picked up Lucas Paquetá, the Brazilian, one of the best wonder kids in FIFA 20 career mode. This is more of a signing for the long term. We all know he's got such great potential in career mode, and maybe a few seasons down the line he could pay off in dividends, but the Brazilian will be joining the Gunners. So we're going to move swiftly on to Aston Villa, recently promoted from the Championship via the playoffs. They're going to get a massive upgrade, one of the best wonder kids, one of the hottest youth prospects in world football. It is going to be the Portuguese sensation João Felix from Atletico Madrid, comes over to Aston Villa, and what a draft pickup for them. He is going to tear it up for them this season. So the Seagulls are up next, Brighton and Hove Albion. They are going to go ahead and improve their right back position in their randomized draft. They get England's up-and-coming youngster. It is Trent Alexander-Arnold, currently doing bits for Liverpool. He is going to help out a smaller side here. It's an exciting English talent, so we'll see how he fares at Brighton. So the Clarets are up next. Burnley, in my opinion, have probably pulled the best draft pick you could ever hope for. That's right, Burnley fans. Instead of Chris Wood up top, you're getting Kylian Mbappe, the best wonder kid under the age of 22, already 89 overall. He is going to have a field day in the Premier League, and he's surely going to bag most of the goals for Burnley. The random draft was kind to Burnley. Let's see how it is to a bigger club in Chelsea. Obviously, Frank Lampard is under a transfer ban, so this random draft could be a blessing in disguise for them. He is going to get an upgrade. That's right, Luka Jovic, the Serbian who just arrived at Real Madrid, is going to be drafted into Chelsea, and he's surely going to lead the line for them. But I guess you have to take the Serbian marksman at the end of the day. From one London club to another, it is going to be Crystal Palace up next, and their first round draft pick going to be Moise Kean, recently moved to Everton in the summer. He is nominated for the draft pick, and the 19-year-old, a big upgrade for the Eagles at striker, and I'm sure the Italian could bag a few goals for him this season. So the Toffees are here. Everton have been allocated their first randomized draft pick, and they've got a Brazilian in Richarlison. That is right, they're getting another Brazilian in Vinicius Jr. on the left-hand side. Is probably one of the best wonder kids you can get your hands on in career mode. We'll see if it pays off for them in the simulation. However, their first draft pick is going to be an absolutely immense player in Vinicius Jr. The Brazilian is surely going to cause a storm in Merseyside. 2016 Premier League champions Leicester City are going to have their spin at the draft. Their randomized draft pick will be a midfield upgrade. Not really an upgrade, but just a midfield pick in general. And here he is, Dominik Szoboszlai, the Hungarian, making waves across the footballing world. 18 years of age, arrives from RB Salzburg. He could unleash his magic in that Leicester midfield in the Midlands. He could be a welcomed addition to their side. A decent overall first draft pick for the Foxes. Liverpool are up next, and at the time of recording, they're first in the Premier League right now. They're on track to winning the title this season. They don't need too much improvement in their squad. This randomized draft has actually been rather nice to them. We're going to replace Wijnaldum in their squad for their randomized wonder kid draft pick in Tottenham's Ndombele. The French midfielder, the CDM, could absolutely boss it for the Reds, and I'm sure could be a welcomed addition in that midfield three. Could be the workhorse and the engine, so I'm sure Klopp will be very happy happy with their first draft pick. As we breeze past one title contender to another, Manchester City, the reigning champions of the Premier League. They don't really need too many additions to their squad. Their squad is already jam-packed full of talent. However, the randomized draft pick they will be assigned is going to be Ousmane Dembele, the French winger, arrives from Barcelona. Alright, we've changed a few things around, but still, that Man City squad looks as lethal as ever. Now we move on to down the road to Old Trafford. The Red Devils, they're in crisis mode at the time of recording this, and they probably still will be for the rest of the season. They are the top 6 side that need the most improvement at the moment. Their randomized draft pick has actually helped them out here, as Matthias de Ligt, the Dutch big man at the back, the centre back, was rumoured to United in the summer. They never got him. He went to Juventus. However, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is lucky at the wheel because he gets de Ligt to add to his backline. So United's draft pick is going to assist them massively this season. Let's take a look and see the team that recently beat them in the Premier League, Newcastle United. Who are they going to draft in? The new Random Wonderkid making his way onto Tyneside will be Ayor, the French central midfielder. We all know Newcastle love a Frenchman, and they're going to add it to that midfield. He can be the creator, the pivot in the midfield. Their squad just looks a ton better with their Frenchman in their midfield. I feel like with their first draft pick, it's introduced a player that Newcastle haven't really had on their books for quite a while, since like maybe Johan Cabaye all those years ago. So let's see if Ayor can go above and beyond expectations for the Magpies. So it's Premier League new boys, Norwich City, the Canaries. They've been here before, but they've never gone under a little randomized Wonderkid draft. So we're going to have to find out if the draft treats them well, but in my opinion, Norwich have gotten an absolute stunner, an absolute beast in their first draft pick. It is going to be the English golden boy, the English Wonderkid Jadon Sancho, arriving from Borussia Dortmund. The 19-year-old is 84 overall already, so he becomes Norwich's highest rated player. Is it going to be a one-man show, or is it going to be the Jadon Sancho show? We're going to have to find out, but that is one ripper first draft pick for Norwich. 2 newly promoted sides in a row. That's right, Sheffield United. The Blades are up for this one. Their squad could do with a lot of improving if they want to stay up in the Premier League this season. They're going to draft in the Wonderkid, the Englishman. 2 English Wonderkids drafted in a row. Phil Foden arrived from Manchester City. Pep Guardiola absolutely adores this bloke, and I'm sure he will not be happy after his move to Sheffield United. That is the way the random draft works. We've included some Premier League Wonderkids in here. A few of the sides are going to be helped out by their fellow Premier League opponents, but Phil Foden is drafted into Sheffield. On to the last few Premier League sides now. It is Southampton, their first draft pick. They've probably got the worst Premier League jersey this season. It's another Brazilian making his name onto the Premier League stage, and that is Rodrigo, the 18-year-old, and he's going to be starting for this side. He can grow, he can improve, and he could do a job for the Saints down that left-hand side. So St. Mary's, say hello to your brand new Brazilian. Spurs are now in our sights, and the North London club, they haven't been doing too well in real life at the moment. They've lost to Bayern Munich 7-2. They've been knocked out of the Carabao Cup. They've also lost in Ndombele in this randomized draft. Not too many things can be going for them at the moment. They're going to draft in a brand new Wonderkid. That is going to be the Italian stallion, Sandro Tonali from Brescia. He has got some brilliant potential in FIFA 20 career mode. And if you get some game time for this Spurs team, could really revolutionize that midfield. Watford are currently sitting bottom of the Premier League right now. They're sitting on rock bottom. They could bring in anyone, and it could improve their squad right now. They need some fresh blood, some new life, and some new energy into this team. They've brought in a new manager, and it hasn't worked. It is time for a brand new marksman, and that is going to be Lautaro Martinez, arriving from Inter Milan. He scored against Barca in the Champions League, and I'm sure he's going to do the business here for the Hornets. A new arrival at Vicarage Road, and that is going to improve their squad like you won't believe. West Ham, the last London club, get their randomized Wonderkid draft pick, and we'll see what the Hammers have to welcome into their squad. A major improvement into that midfield. Sorry, Mark Noble. Move over. Step aside for the young German 20-year-old Kai Havertz. 84 overall, becomes one of the highest rated players at the club, and I'm sure Spencer FC is going to be loving that one. So Wolves are up, and it's the last draft pick of the round. Here we go. The last first randomized draft pick. It's another midfield improvement. Welcome along Frankie de Jong. The Dutchman arrives and just makes that midfield partnership all that mouth-watering. Neves, Moutinho, and then alongside Frankie de Jong. That team in that midfield could cause some real trouble this season in the Premier League. So now we're back at the top. We're starting off with Bournemouth again for round 2 of the randomized Wonderkid draft draft picks. So the Cherries already added Donnarumma to their ranks. Now they're going to get an English wonderkid in Callum Hudson-Odoi, the 18-year-old from Chelsea, will be starting in that right wing position. And maybe with a bit more game time down at the South Coast, he could really shine in the Premier League. Onto the Gunners now, and they improved their midfield with Lucas Paquetá, the Brazilian. But now we all know they've got defensive problems. They've gotten lucky here with another Brazilian in their ranks. Eder Militao recently moved to Real Madrid, but in the randomized draft pick Wonderkids, he's going to be starting ahead of David Luiz. A lot of Gunners fans are going to be happy about that one. Let's see what these two Brazilians can do at Arsenal. Aston Villa got the pick of the bunch in João Felix, the Portuguese wonderkid up top, who is going to be starting for them. Now let's see what their second wonderkid draft pick brings along, and it is going to be the Jamaican who just makes the cut at 22 years of age, Leon Bailey from Bayer Leverkusen. He's going to be starting down that left-hand side, and boy, oh boy, that attack looks absolutely lethal with Felix, Grealish, Bailey as well. That could be one of the most exciting attacking lineups in the Premier League so far. It's Brighton's second turn, and they picked up Trent Alexander-Arnold to improve the defense. Now the midfield gets a little upgrade, and that is going to be Nicolo Barella, the Italian, now at Inter Milan, former Cagliari man, going to be starting in that midfield. And boy, oh boy, their team looks decent. It looks a bit better now with both Barella and Alexander-Arnold in the mix. Burnley now are looking like a team not to be messed with here. After pulling Mbappe in their first randomized draft, in the second round, they're going to get even better with Arthur Melo, the Brazilian from Barcelona, is making his way over to the Premier League. And Burnley are looking 1,000 times better with those two in their ranks. We'll see how that affects their results this season. The Clarets are looking a different side with their draft picks. Let's see how it affects Chelsea though, their second turn. And in return, they're going to improve both the striker and the left wing position with Oyarzabal, the Spanish left winger, alongside Jovic and Willian. That front three is looking rather dangerous, especially with that transfer ban. This could be a godsend for Frank Lampard and the Blues. Crystal Palace are our next main focus, and the Eagles, in their randomized draft pick, are going to benefit with a defensive reinforcement. Konate, the French under-20 defender, is going to replace Gary Cahill there, and now their defense and attack is all improved. The Evertonians got lucky with Vinicius Jr. in their first round pick, and now they're getting a taste of Belgium's young and upcoming talent, Yari Verscharen, probably one of the brightest sparks in the Belgian league right now. It'll be interesting to see how the young Belgian playmaker fares in the Premier League. It is Leicester City's second turn now, and the Foxes are going to recuperate a talent from a fellow Premier League side in Watford. They're going to get Ismaila Sarr, the under-21 Senegalese right winger. He's going to slot straight into that starting 11 position. Now Vardy, Sarr, and James Maddison up top is looking very threatening for Leicester City right now. I feel like the random draft has done Brendan Rodgers and his lads well there. Current Premier League leaders in Liverpool are going to get their second draft pick, and it's not going to be an instant starting 11. The new young Argentinian face on Merseyside is De La Vega. He is definitely a one for the future, and is going to be starting on the bench to be an instant impact, to be a super sub, and maybe in the future replace Salah or Sadio Mane in this Liverpool side. De La Vega has now become a red and is a pretty decent pull if you know he's got, brilliant potential in FIFA 20 career mode. So that is definitely a more long-term draft pick investment for Jurgen Klopp and his side. And now Pep Guardiola's side, Manchester City, the Citizens, are up next. Let's see how they compare to their fellow Premier League title rivals in Liverpool. We all know they've had a problem at that left back position. Mendy has not really, been fit to play, and they've been playing a few different left backs there. They haven't really found the right one. So let's see how the Canadian now can play at left back. Alphonso Davies, 18 years of age, arrives from Bayern Munich. Can he do well in the Premier League, thrive under Pep Guardiola's guidance, and maybe even lead City to another Premier League title? We're gonna have to wait and see, but Alphonso Davies will be City's second random draft pick. Manchester United got lucky with a gift sent from the heavens in Matthias de Ligt to improve the back line. Now it's the center attack and midfield pick of Nicolo Zaniolo to replace the aging Juan Mata and to provide a bit of a younger spark in this United side. Let's see if Zaniolo and de Ligt could be the young injection that the Red Devils need. Mike Ashley's Newcastle United Toon side got a hold of France's midfield prospect Ayor, and now it's two Frenchmen in a row. Guess what? It is Alban Lafont, the 20-year-old. I know he is less rated than Dubravka, but he could grow, he could develop throughout the season and keep a lot of clean sheets for Newcastle. The French invasion is well and truly underway. I think St. James's Park are going to love those two French additions. Now, Norwich City are living their best life under this randomized Wonderkid draft because they're going to get a massive upgrade in that goalkeeper position. I know Farman is 80 overall, but Lunin, 76 overall, 20 years of age. The Ukrainian is an under-20 World Cup winner. Could save them from a lot of goals this season. Could provide them with a lot of points too. Both draft picks, Lunin and Sancho, could be absolute legends for Norwich City and save them from relegation this season. But the question is, how far are they going to climb up the Premier League table with these two Wonderkids? Sheffield United were looking like relegation favourites heading into this Premier League season, but are looking much the improved side with Phil Foden, their first draft pick, their second draft pick going to be another young Englishman, Marcus Rashford, step aside McBurney. The two young English talents are coming to town. Touted for big things, we'll see what the young English prospects can achieve at Sheffield. The Saints are next. Southampton get their second pick, and after pulling Rodrigo, the Brazilian, they're going to bag themselves another South American in Benson Kerr. It's a new midfield partner for James Ward-Prowse, and the Uruguayan 22-year-old will be dictating the midfield at St. Mary's this season. Spurs are up next, and much like Liverpool, they've pulled a player that is more for the long term, more for the future. It is Takefusa Kubo. I don't think he earns a starting position yet. However, he's going to make his way onto the bench. Japan's new up-and-coming star might make an impact off the bench. Tonali and Kubo are the two bright young stars that are coming to North London. Watford get their second Wonderkid draft pick, and it is going to be someone right behind Lautaro Martinez. Ihaderen, the Dutch midfielder, filled with bags of potential. He could unleash it here at Watford and is drafted into the Premier League. The young 17-year-old, will he step up to the plate? We'll have to find out. But those two draft picks could be lethal in the final third for Watford. Back to the Hammers, West Ham get their second Wonderkid draft pick, and it is going to be the young Argentine, just like De La Vega. Thiago Almada is one of the bright young and upcoming prospects over there in the Argentinian league and could really cause some damage here in the London Stadium. He's not going to make his way into the first team, but he's going to make his way onto the bench and maybe be a little super sub for Manuel Pellegrini's men. And finally, it is lucky last. Now, Wolves get their last second round draft pick here, and it is going to be a backup goalkeeper. I don't think he's going to take the place of Rui Patricio, but it is going to be Meret. The young Italian arrives from Napoli and will definitely be a young and upcoming backup for them. But for now, that is how the Random Wonderkid draft has shapen up here in the Premier League. Now on to the second part of the draft. The question is, who are we going to be in the career mode simulation? What team are we going to take over? And maybe I'm thinking Wolves. Let's just go Wolves. We're going to take over as Wolves for no particular reason in the draft simulation. And what we're going to do for this career mode is we're going to disable the first summer transfer window, just so the Premier League clubs, they're stuck with their randomized draft Wonderkids, so they can't improve their squad. They can't get better players in. They're going to have to rely on their brand new drafted players. And just like that, I think we're ready to see how the draft will affect the Premier League. And just as a refresher, all the drafted Wonderkids, they're in their respective squads. They're all transferred to their teams. Definitely some interesting results there, but let me know down below what team got the best draft picks and what team, didn't have the best overall draft. Could have been better. Let me know, but I definitely think in the long term, all these drafted Wonderkids could benefit every club, but this experiment is only going to be one season, so we'll see who have the most impact in this simulated season. So yeah, now that is all out of the way, we're going to simulate to the halfway stage. No transfer window to worry about. We'll see what happens in January, what clubs are going to decide to splash the cash, what transfers are going to go through, and who is in the best potential position in the Premier League. We'll sim to deadline day in January 2020. Let's go. The draft is now fully in swing. So we're about halfway through the Premier League season, about 20 games played here, and you could already see the effect that the draft is having on the league. Obviously, we've still got Liverpool on top of the table with 40 points. It's pretty much the same as real life, but Manchester United have creeped into the top 4. Chelsea and Spurs, and now Burnley are making a top 4 push. They're sitting in 5th. You can see the effect of Mbappe and Arthur as well. Leicester City, Norwich, Bournemouth, Wolves, and West Ham all currently in the top 10. So there are some big teams that are not doing too well at the moment. We'll scroll down and see Manchester City in 11th there. Aston Villa not doing too well. They have Bailey and João Felix. They're going to look to need a second half of the season turnaround. Watford in 14th. Newcastle in 15th. Sheffield just outside the relegation zone in 16th. Crystal Palace in 17th. And I can already see Everton in there. The bottom three is not going to look too good. Southampton and Arsenal are rock bottom of the Premier League. The two Brazilians have come into North London and have not helped the cause whatsoever. Deary me, what is going on over there for the Gunners? But Southampton and Everton join them. It's actually a quite tight Premier League table. It's actually quite tight in terms of points. A few wins here and there for a team could really turn their fortunes around. So now that the January transfer window is open, we'll take a look at the current transfers to see if the teams are going to settle for their Wonderkid draft picks, or are they going to go out in full force and strengthen their squads for the second half of the season. Let's see what the clubs have been getting up to so far. Man City, they were looking to improve their squad. They've brought in the Moroccan Hakim Ziyech there for £59.4 million. They've sold Gabriel Jesus to Atletico, so he was surplus to requirements. But Arsenal currently sit at rock bottom of the table. They've brought in Alan to strengthen the midfield, another Brazilian as well. The Brazilian invasion is well and truly happening in North London. We'll see if any other Premier League transfers have happened. Not really too many. A lot of the clubs seeming to settle on what they have so far. Liverpool have brought in Sergio Roberto. The Spaniard will just improve their squad. They've lost Trent Alexander-Arnold to Brighton, so that is a logical one from Jurgen Klopp. Ilicic has joined Manchester United. Okay, an interesting striker, so he could add some firepower to their attack. Chelsea have sold Alonso. Zivchenko off to Spurs. And Chilwell has gone to Juventus. Nathan Ake off to Leicester City as well. Calabria making his way onto West Ham. A few of the smaller teams doing a bit of cheeky little business. Lamela off to Atalanta in Serie A. Granit Xhaka has made his way to Milan as well. So maybe that's why they brought in Alan. The Gunners are frantic in this transfer window. They need some major improvements. And Jorge Mer has made his way onto Sheffield United for £15 million. Serge Aurier is making the switch to Crystal Palace. And Joshua King returns to Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's gotten desperate over there. He's brought in a fellow Norwegian too. But yeah, that is it for all the major Premier League transfers. Not too much action happening. There was action, but not as much as you probably would expect for a January transfer window. That is it. We're going to simulate to the end of the season. We've reached the end of the simulation, and the question is, who is going to win the first Premier League? They held a little draft before pre-season. We got fired as Wolves boss, unfortunately. We took over Southampton, and it didn't go all too well. Southampton, Brighton, and Crystal Palace all getting relegated to the Championship. It was a very tight race. You think 40 points is enough to save you in the Premier League, and Crystal Palace get relegated with 37. Any of the bottom 6 teams could have got relegated, but Arsenal somehow managed to battle their way out of the bottom 3. 2 points outside the relegation zone. Aston Villa and Watford just surviving there. Sheffield United, Man City in 12th. Okay, there's something's going wrong there with Pep Guardiola. He has lost Phil Foden. He's not too happy, but Everton are finishing in 11th place. Bournemouth in 10th. That's a decent finish for them. Leicester City and also West Ham are in the top 10. So now it's the top 7. We'll see. It is Wolves, our former team. They did well after they sacked us, and rightfully so. Norwich has creeped into the top 6 as well. Jadon Sancho obviously doing bits for them. Burnley remain in the 5th position like they were at the halfway stage. Spurs didn't really get the best random draft picks, but they've maintained a top 4 position, qualifying for the Champions League. United in there as well. It's either between Liverpool or someone else. It's either between Liverpool or Chelsea now. Let's see. In second position, the runners-up are Liverpool. That means Frank Lampard's Chelsea have gone ahead and won it. The Blues, after their transfer ban, got in their improvements. They got Jovic and Orza buyout and taken it to the next level, and it showed, especially in the second half of the season. But the Wonderkid draft definitely did shape the Premier League table into ways that I could have never imagined. We'll check the FA Cup now. In the domestic competitions, there was no Premier League clubs in the final. Okay, that is definitely a weird one. Leeds take it out against Cardiff City. Carabao Cup, and it is Manchester United getting the victory over Southampton 2-0. Definitely their draft picks, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's January signings did the job there. Liverpool won the UEFA Super Cup 3-0 over Chelsea, and in the Champions League, it was an all-German affair. Dortmund taking on Bayern. Bayern the eventual winners. We'll see if any English clubs made it far in the competition. No, it was Spurs getting knocked out in the quarterfinals. English clubs not doing all too well in the European competition. We'll take a look at the Europa League, and it was Chelsea getting getting the victory over Napoli 2-1. So they've won the Premier League and they've also won their second Europa League in a row. I think Chelsea have benefited the most from this draft in terms of silverware. And what were Everton thinking? They loaned out Vinicius Jr., their first round draft pick, to Udinese. Come on, guys, the Toffees are losing their minds over there. Goodison Park would have erupted over this move, and unfortunately for them, he didn't make much of an impact for him. Now, as we take a look at the top goal scorers in the Premier League, it's Harry Kane running away with the Golden Boot, 19 goals for him, but Burnley's Mbappe doing well with 16. Rodrigo, although getting relegated, he bagged 16 goals for the Saints. Salah as well. Oyarzabal and Jovic doing quite well. They're combining and getting a total of 27 goals for Chelsea. Those two draft picks definitely did wonders for the Blues at Stamford Bridge. Lautaro Martinez bagging 14 for Watford. And then Manchester United brought in Josh King. He did a job at the second half of the season with 13 goals. And yeah, there are no other draft picks inside in terms of the top goal scorer list. We'll see who got the most assists. Joshua King got a combined 20 goal contributions for United. Okay then. Jadon Sancho picked up 5 assists for Norwich. Moise Kean picking up 5 assists for Crystal Palace. And there you go, Bentancur 4 assists for Southampton. In terms of clean sheets, Lunin got up there in terms of a draft pick, 7 clean sheets for him. Donnarumma as well for the Cherries, 6 for him. And let's take a look and see how Sancho performed. 37 appearances, 7 goals and 5 assists for the young Englishman. Already 86 overall. Would have been Norwich's marquee man. Sheffield United saw Marcus Rashford be their main marksman up top. The goal scorer bagged 17 goals and 3 assists, a combined 10 goal contributions for the young English striker. Spurs' draft picks not making too much of an impact here. 1 goal and 1 assist for Sandro Tonali, and surprisingly Takefusa Kubo getting 2 goals in 10 appearances. Kai Havertz, someone I expected to be up there in the goal scoring charts, 27 appearances, 4 goals and 4 assists for the Hammers, with the Dutchman recording 35 appearances, only 1 goal and 2 assists for him, so maybe taking a bit of time to adjust to the Premier League. So that about wraps up the randomized Premier League Wonderkid Draft. If you went ahead and enjoyed the video and thought the results were pretty cool, were a bit crazy, make sure to slap a like on it down below, hit subscribe and turn on notifications for more FIFA 20 Corimo content coming to the channel. Also comment down below who drafted the best young Wonder Kids and who benefited the most. Also follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description. I've been BCHD, hopefully you did enjoy. Have a nice day, and I'll catch you on the very next video.